welcome to another week of the Hogs Happy Hour here on the 4 Star Sports Media Network. I'm your co-host Blake, and as always joined by Ashton Wilson. And this week we have a special guest, my brother Jason. He has hopped on with us. He's going to join us when he's able to. So always good to have him along. So I'll start with Ashton. How's it going?
Hey man, great, going great. How are y'all?
Good. All right. How's it
I'm
going,
doing
Jason?
good.
You
I'm doing
good?
good.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, hey, basketball season's fixing to start, so
Yeah.
it's always great.
All right. So we'll start with a game me and my brother saw in person. If Ashton was there, I don't know how he would have acted, but Mississippi State defeated our Arkansas Razorbacks at home 7-3. Um, it was not a it was a great defensive showing, a very poor offensive showing. KJ did not break 100 yards passing. Ashton, what's your thoughts on this game?
I had mixed emotions. I know that with the offense, obviously the offense hasn't been clicking. It wasn't just the Mississippi State versus Arkansas game. I feel like it hasn't been clicking even if you go back to when Arkansas played Kent State. In my opinion, I think the offense consistently clicked against LSU. That was the second half. So it was really one half of football that really just clicked. But what I watched with Arkansas and Mississippi State was inexcusable. You're talking about bottom tier defense, not just in the SEC, but in the country. And I don't know why KJ just looks confused. And our offense just looks confused. So I think something had to be done. Sam Pittman's hands were tied, and whether it's Dan Enos, Cody Kennedy, or someone else, someone was going to get fired.
All right, Jason. Any thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's in a way, I'm kind of glad it happened the way that it happened because it's forced change during this bye week. Uh, I don't think, Dan Enos' style of offense has fit KJ this year. But like Ashton said, it's inexcusable for us to only score 3 points against a very bad Mississippi State team.
Yeah. And those 3 points were gifted by the defense. Okay, I don't, our offense. I don't know if we crossed the 35-yard line all game. I think second or third play of the game, our defense, gave us an interception, and we thought, okay, this game's going to go how we want it to go, and boy, were we were wrong, very wrong. Running game didn't get going, passing game didn't get going. We didn't do a forward pass. It seems at times. I mean, it was always little screens out to the side. Never anything downfield.
I mean, the defense gave you great field position at the very beginning of the game with that interception.
Mm-hmm.
And we still can capitalize on that.
Yeah, the defense, it seems like they were like all game long. They were in the position they were supposed to be in. Now, let's be honest, right? A defense very rarely is going to play perfect football. But overall, it's like they were inspired from the beginning of the football game even till the end, up to the very last play. They were inspired. I mean, it almost felt like if you put the defense on there to run the offensive plays, we could have scored some points. Right? It just felt like half the sideline was into the game, the other half wasn't.
Yeah.
And is that on your head coach? I personally think partially it is. And if you go back and watch the interview, post-game interview, how many times, and this still worries me, how many times did he answer, I don't know?
Yeah, it was it's something had to happen. So obviously, Enos is no longer employed at the University of Arkansas. So, but just the offense just looked like very lost on Saturday. It was, Jason and I, we were there, and receivers were open down the field, but the play call was not really designed to go to them. I remember a couple of times Armstrong was just running down the field open, but KJ did not have time to throw it to him. So, I mean, is it the line's fault? Is it the play calling? We don't know. We'll find out these next 4 games. I will say your goal now is to win the next 4 to make it to a bowl game. This was not your goal coming into the year, but you have to reevaluate yourself, and you got to go 4-0 these next 4 games.
And how do you do that?
Yeah.
You got Kenny Guyton, who knows? He could come out and just light it up, right? And you and I have been talking about it. If Kenny Guyton comes out and does really well, does Kenny Guyton get offered the OT position? Because I've been listening to the radio quite a bit, Drive Time Sports, and other different radio shows. They all seem to think that no matter how Kenny Guyton does, that Coach Pittman's going out at the end of the season and getting a new OC.
And then at that point you might lose your receivers coach, but you kind of have to deal with it as it comes to you. But I don't know. We'll see if Dan Enos was the problem or not. I think the players are going to play inspired for Coach G. I think how the defense has played for Travis Williams, they're going to play for Coach G. So we shall see. Florida's a tough first opponent, though. They're especially at Florida, at the Swamp. So
the only thing we got going for us right there is the 11 a.m. kickoff.
Yes, we love those kickoffs.
Hey, at this point, though, as an Arkansas fan, do you want to play that game at 6:00 at night?
No. And it's also that's their blackout game or something. Florida's got some special jerseys for us. So, but I will say shout out to the fans that showed up Saturday. I know Ashton was curious on how it would look. So I sent him a picture right before kickoff, and he was I guess impressed. I don't want to speak for Ashton, but he was impressed with who showed up at 11 o'clock against Mississippi State.
Yeah, see, I think the original picture you sent me, I think it was like 15, 20 minutes before kickoff, and I was like, oh no. I was worried, but Blake had told me that the parking lot was full, and he sent me the picture right when the game started. It was packed. I mean, 71,000 people. What more can you ask for?
I mean, a lot of them stayed to the very end of the game too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about fans. 71,000 people show up to watch a 2-5 football team.
Yep.
That's how passionate Arkansas fans are.
Yep. And you could probably hear the passion coming through the TV. I don't know how it sounded on TV with the Boo Birds, especially at halftime.
Yeah, so from where I was at home, y'all two were at the game, but I could hear a little bit, and then the cameras would show fans, and they were booing, especially right there before half. It didn't look like an Arkansas team that wanted to score.
Well, the reason they were booing, we had 3 timeouts with 2:12 left on the clock, and we ran out the clock. How much faith do you have in your offense?
Yeah.
But all right, so question for both of y'all, whoever wants to go first. What is ahead for this Arkansas offense?
Well, I mean, I think they will play inspired. It will definitely be a different play style than what it has been most of the year. I think it will be kind of close to the way it was called last year at Kendall Browse. We just got to hope that At least our line can hold blocks for them. That we've got to get the running game going. There's no excuse for the.
Right. And so I've been watching another kind of a YouTube channel where I forget the name of the YouTube channel. I would shout it out if I knew it, but he breaks down film. And the question was like, can KJ not go through his progressions? Does he not know how to read defenses? Well, he went back and compared Browse's offense with this year's offense, and he showed KJ clearly going through his progressions and KJ anticipating where a receiver would be. I don't know what the issue has been this year. Maybe the routes have been too long to develop, but I saw just one play as an example where it was a fake. I don't know if it was a fake bubble screen or a fake tunnel screen, but Trey Knox acts like he's blocking, then he runs like a post right up the seam, kind of, and KJ throws it to a spot before Trey even clears the linebacker, and you die 30, 40-yard game. Have we seen KJ anticipate much of anything this year? How many times did the ball get thrown beyond 18 yards against Mississippi State? Was it zero?
Zero. I mean, well, I guess the Hail Mary will count as one.
Yeah.
But
like, stretch the defense out. I'm not saying the ball hasn't even have to be completed. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have a world-class athlete, Olympic athlete, on your team, with Isaiah Satania, and you're not stretching the field with him. You're going side to side. That's not.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, I'm not saying we're not running some similar plays to last year under Enos. We were running some similar quick outs, right? But the difference is Browse would like suck the defense in and then run a little, like I said, a quick pump, look at the seam. I haven't seen that. It's just like, I know what play is going to be run. And you're sitting in the stands as a fan, right?
Yeah.
And you're going, I've read that from a mile away.
And the SEC defensive coordinator is going to, he's going to point that out quickly. If the fans know what's coming, every coach in the SEC knows what's coming.
Right.
But I will say the good thing is, Enos, he didn't bring anybody on. He was just kind of. So, I mean, you let go of Enos, and it's pretty much, Kendall Browell's offensive staff just without Browell's. So, I think you're going to see a lot of last year's offense for these last 4 games.
And the good news is, and Jason will agree, you get 2 weeks to figure this out. Yeah. Right. I'm glad you're not playing this weekend. Kenny Guyton's got 3 days to prepare.
Yeah.
The guys got to go home briefly, get away from football for a few days, and let's be honest, who doesn't need a break from something that can sometimes feel like a job? And these guys go home. I think the state of Arkansas is still behind these guys, and I think they're a lot more behind the staff than they were last week when they got rid of Enos.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I'd like to just see a little bit more life. That's all.
As Pittman said, the players never really bought into Enos. He never really built any relationships with the players, and you could kind of tell, they were not fighting for him. You look at the defensive side of the ball with that coaching change. They're playing pretty well. This is, if you look at our offensive numbers, we are in the hundreds in a lot of categories. And
yeah, but I mean, what took 6 weeks for them to make any sort of change? He notices that earlier in the year.
Yeah. I think it's just the bye week, gives you 2 weeks to prepare instead of 1.
Yeah, perhaps. There's just other things that have bothered me this year, and I think Sam Pittman's gonna be here next year. Even if we finish 2-10, I think he's here next year. And, is Sam Pittman on the hot seat? Yeah, absolutely. I think he's 100% on the hot seat, especially this next year being his 5th year contract is what it is. You're going to owe him less money next year. And if he finishes 2-10, he's well under 500, way even less.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I texted you. It was the heat of the moment during the game. I was like, Mississippi State's coach died, and Pittman's in year 4.
Yeah.
And look what's on the field.
Right. Mike Leach was one of the greatest. And, man, I know Mississippi State fans, SEC fans, football fans really miss Coach Leach. And you're talking about a situation where Mississippi State is completely unprepared for that to happen. And the coaches and the players have to just kind of step it up and deal with what it is. And they found a way.
With a backup quarterback who could not throw the ball. Let's just be honest.
No,
not at all.
Just back there running around, but it worked. But all right, so Jason, do you think Pittman's on the hot seat?
Well, obviously, yes, he is. But I'm with Ashton. I do believe he will be here next year. It really boils down to a money thing. It goes down substantially next year, and even if he's under 500.
Something that the reason why I think Coach Pittman keeps his job is because I don't know how he's managed it. He's managed to keep the class together, sitting at 2-6. Probably somehow managed to pitch hope to these kids that we could bounce back, if not this year, next year.
Yeah, and a thing I want to add is, it's just show you no one wanted to play for Enos because no recruit said I'm out.
Right.
So that shows you maybe they're coming to play for the University of Arkansas and Pittman.
KJ Jackson.
Yeah.
He was really one of the main. When Grayson Wilson from CAC was primarily recruited by Dan Enos. Ain't a single one of them jumped ship. Coach Pittman, maybe he threw Coach Enos under the bus a little bit, but he said what it is. These kids weren't inspired by Dan Enos.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Enos ends up, if he ends up anywhere. He's already been he's already been with Saban, so I don't know if he'll go through that coaching thing.
Can't imagine anybody looking at these numbers going across the bottom of the screen would ever even consider bringing him in as part of the offensive staff. I just couldn't imagine.
So, all right, next question I had, which y'all pretty much answered it, is how Pittman can save his job. So I get the impression y'all think Pittman will be back next year, even if he goes 0-4 these next 4 games.
Yeah. You can. I won't guarantee it. I won't guarantee it that if he goes 2-10 that he has a job, because the reason why I say it's not a guarantee, it has to do with some of his game time management. That to me would be the things that would get him fired. You openly admit that Cam Little can kick from 60 yards, but then you won't kick it from 53. But then you'll kick it from 56.
I think he even admitted during post game he didn't know what to do in that situation.
And that's the type of thing, when what Jason just said, that's the type of thing that gets you fired. Is the fan base may love you, but if they feel you're incompetent to make decisions, they don't want you leading their program.
Yeah, and then going back to Jason's comment about, Pittman did not know what to do. Ashton and I, we're former high school, junior high coaches. On Thursday nights, Ashton would call plays. I would signal them in. Like, we knew what, Ashton knew what he's going to call 2, 3, 4 plays from now. Yeah. And I had to be prepared to signal it in. I couldn't, he couldn't waste his time,
Yeah. So like the good, I think about those days is when I would call those plays. Of course, it was junior high kids, which those kids are now senior high and they're having pretty good, having a pretty good year. But we knew our game plan going in. Like, what did we want to do? We knew we weren't going to throw for no 80-yard touchdown, and we needed to be prepared to run the football. And if we were behind the sticks, we knew what we needed to do. So I mean, you just got to know.
Yeah.
I got to take a phone call, guys. My family's blowing my phone up. I'm gonna put myself on mute.
All right. But yeah, it's just Pittman just thinking in year 4 he should not he should be able to make those decisions very quickly, not cost us 3 points.
Well, I think the firing of Dan Enos is actually what saved him this year.
Yeah. I mean,
if he would have kept him throughout the rest of the year, I don't think Sam would be here next year.
Yeah, I think we want to give Pittman some for hiring Enos. We got to give him some credit for hiring Travis Williams too. That defense has turned it around. I'm not saying it's an awesome, great defense, but compared to last year, we are pretty good compared to the 2022 defense. So
now,
whatever year we're in.
Now let's say if he benched KJ early in the year and put Criswell out there, do you believe he fits Enos' style a little bit better?
No, I think. You could have put anybody back there. I don't think. The offensive line. Not really blocking anybody. Could. I think could put prime Tom Brady back there. I don't think he would have done too well with that. But I don't think a quarterback change would have helped at all. And in fact, it might have hurt because KJ loves Arkansas. So I think it would have hurt him just a little bit.
Okay, here's a crazy question: Is KJ Jefferson a Razorback next year?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Does he transfer or does he go pro?
Transfers.
Okay, Rocket Sanders, is he a Razorback next year?
No.
Transfer?
No. I don't know. He may just quit football altogether. I don't know how significant his injury is.
Yeah.
I have a sneaky suspicion it's pretty bad.
We saw him limp. He was limping around pretty bad on the sideline last Saturday. But I think I'm pretty sure he has a child, right? I think he has a kid.
I don't know. I
remember watching a game or something last year. But anyways, he's got he's got a family to take care of, and he needs to try to go to the NFL. I know with NIL, they get money now, but I think running backs they have a short career, so I think he needs to go ahead and go to the draft if possible.
Y'all are saying that KJ transfers. What if he stays at Arkansas?
Is
he the starter next year?
Depends. It's a tough question.
That is a tough question.
Because you got Criswell, which we don't know what he has. We know what KJ has.
I personally think that Criswell will bring more to the table. As far as commanding the offense, I feel like sometimes KJ is one-dimensional.
Yeah,
not that he's not a good quarterback.
Like to back up Jason's point, I think Criswell fits Enos' offense better.
Yeah, but I also think Criswell is the type of athlete who could adjust to any system.
Yeah.
KJ depends a lot on his size.
Yeah. And the system that Enos had just didn't fit him, and he couldn't adjust to it. Really, I don't think anybody could adjust to it.
No. Well, I got, just thinking about it, if KJ, once he's done at Arkansas, if he transfers, to me, his 2 spots are wherever Kendall Browse is at. That's 1. And 2, Saban loves him. I don't know if Saban will want him.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good valid point. There's a quarterback. I was reading a post about how there are quarterbacks that could be in the transfer portal. Chandler Morris's name was on that list from TCU, and if that happens, KJ Jefferson, don't count it out that he has a reunion with Kendall Briles. If Kendall Briles is still at TCU next year,
And Texas and Oklahoma leave that conference next year.
yeah.
So it's you could put up some numbers for the NFL scouts. But
Yeah.
anything else about football before we move on to something positive?
Well, let's move on.
All right. So basketball season I will say basketball season is here. I'm sure y'all would pretty much agree. This Saturday we have a scrimmage game, I guess you can call it, against Purdue here in Arkansas. Last I saw, it's pretty much sold out. I think they had a couple thousand tickets left, but I'm sure they will get sold quickly. So just what's your early thoughts on the team? I know we've had a scrimmage against UT Tyler, and we had the red-white game. So we got a little preview. Last year they went overseas, so we could watch more games about them before the season. But just what's some of y'all's early thoughts on this team?
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, I expect them to fully get 21, 22 wins or so, make it to the NCAA tournament. It's if everybody can stay injury free. Talent wise, it's not quite as good as the players last year, but I feel like this is more of a complete team. We have really had a chance to watch them. The first exhibition game obviously was no radio, no TV, no anything. This one this weekend I believe is on SEC Network Plus.
Yeah.
So it will be the first time we were actually getting to see him play.
Yeah, I think maybe an unpopular opinion. I think that Arkansas might actually have, as depth-wise, better players this year than they did last year. Now, I'm not saying there's more talent. I'm just talking about as far as a full roster goes, I think Arkansas is more talented. I think Khalif Battle brings a lot to the table shooting-wise. I think Davenport is a big guy who shoot. He kind of reminds me size-wise of the fellow who tore us up from UConn, the big forward who could shoot, and he's built big, a thicker guy. And then Trevin Brett still coming back, really just, man, changes the dynamics of this team. And if he's healthy, I mean, he had a quote. He said he was sitting on the bench watching Arkansas play Missouri when he was at Missouri. And he said, man, I really got to be part of that. And he's come to Arkansas and really developed into a guy who, had he been healthy last year, may not even be a Razorback right now. He's good.
Oh, yeah. He's
And
very good.
I guess the thing that worries me is how deep are we in the, was it backcourt or is it front court? I can't remember. As far as forwards go, how well does, which twin stayed?
The Mitchell. Well, you're talking about the Mitchells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How well does he and Graham and Brazil play?
Yeah. So
And then we got a couple guys who are in between, 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah. I was, when we were getting all these transfers, I was like, all right, this big man. No, it's all guards, pretty much. You got a few with size, but not like your true big man.
And baseball.
Yeah. UConn pretty much destroyed us on the inside. We honestly probably have two starting fives right now. We know Musselman, he likes that 7 to 8 rotation. So it's going to be interesting to see who, from from this team is going to be his 7 or 8, or he may change his coaching style up and play 9, 10, maybe even 11.
I was thinking we have 8 to 9 guys who can actually play, and I don't know if Layden Blocker is ready. I think L. Ellis, uh, obviously your two best defenders probably in the SEC, in Devo and Mark. I mean, those two dudes can play defense and will play significant minutes. And then you got Davenport if he stays healthy, and then obviously Brazil. And then after that, Battle. I might have already said there's a few other guys that could shoot a little bit.
Like, come tournament time, we're gonna be glad we have this depth.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's been a struggle for us for a few years, is depth going into the March Madness.
And we had 7 transfers, and you may have a list. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll just go through the list. These are transfers coming in. Khalif Battle, he is coming in from Temple. L. Ellis from Louisville. Denaje Harris from Southern Miss. Chandler Lawson from Memphis. Tremont Mark from Houston. Jeremiah Davenport from Cincinnati. And Minifield Jr., he's from Temple, but he will redshirt this year. So we will not see him this year.
So Minifield Jr. was Temple, or was he Washington?
Oh, Washington. I'm sorry, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. Minifield's from Washington. He will redshirt. And then we have Bayfall from Denver. He's a high school freshman. And Blocker is from Sunrise Christian Academy, but
I can't wait to talk about this.
originally from Little Rock. So that's Musselman's style. He likes to go out and hit the transfer portal and bring a new team in every year.
And I think this is what's going to be the normal for Arkansas. He's going to sign 2 high school kids, 3 high school kids max, and then he's going to hit the transfer portal consistently. I think Muss will, if he wants to, retire at Arkansas.
I mean, he just seems to love it. I know Jason. We saw him at the football game. He just seems to just love it here, and so he might retire here. I don't know. All right, so let's talk about preseason AP poll. Okay, we ranked 14th. Trying to think. Last year we were 10 maybe,
Yeah,
number
top
10, I
10.
think. So the media still likes us. I'm gonna pull up the schedule here. Okay, it might be hard to see, but so our first real game is November 6th against Alcorn State, and you got a couple good non-conference games, and then we go to the Battle for Atlantis tournament, which has a pretty good roster of teams that will be there. I know Memphis will be there, so 4-star we'll be glad to watch that game if we get the chance. So now the one everyone has circled is November 29th, where Duke comes to Bud Walton Arena. So
Yeah.
So, but
Can't wait for that.
So just kind of talk about the non-conference. What you see, what you expect, and we'll go from there.
Well, first off, I forgot to mention anybody who may listen to the show. You can send us stars for shout outs, any type of comments. We highlight, we talk about anything that perhaps you may want to hear from us. So that's something I want to remind y'all of if you're listening. But as far as the schedule goes, non-conference, man, how exciting is it to not you go from the Battle for Atlantis, and then you come back and you got to play Duke, and then you got Oklahoma. I mean, man, how exciting! It's fun to see Arkansas challenging themselves, and let's be honest, they're going to lose some games, and I'm going to get frustrated. Whether we, because in my mind we need to go 30-0. But
oh yeah, I know it happens every year with you about
Yeah.
January when that. Let's say when we start with Auburn, Georgia, Florida, A&M. That's when Coach Wilson is saying fire us, and we need to find a new coach. You know, it happens every year. But come March,
But I'll tell you this, something that I struggle to get used to is there's no non-conference game snuck in there in the SEC schedule, kind of like the Big 12 Challenge. It's just straight SEC.
Yep. Yep. All right. Any games in non-conference, Jason, that kind of you're interested in?
No, I mean obviously the Duke game and the OU game, Battle for Atlantis, I think would be interesting to watch. But you got to think though, with this game against Purdue, I know it's not officially on the schedule, but at the end of the year, do the people who choose to make it into the tournament, do they look at that game?
I don't know how that game's gonna be played. Like, do you go a full like? Do you go like it's a real game? Do you treat it like a real game, or do you play your starters for a half and then the second half is your backups? Like, how do you? Because Purdue has played together, so they don't really need to kind of gel, kind of how the Arkansas has to. So I don't know how it's going to be played.
Um, well, first I want to recognize the comment of Tyler Hudson. Appreciate you watching the show. Hope you enjoy the content. But as far as like, how do you approach that game? Honestly, Blake, this is my opinion. You approach it to win. Remember how we played Texas last year and just got absolutely throttled?
Yeah.
I think you approach that with the intention of you go with the hot hand, and these guys can play together, they can gel. You keep them on the floor, and if it gets to a situation where maybe you're getting blown out, sure, then start throwing guys out there. But if I'm Coach Muss, I'm approaching every game with the intention of winning. Set the culture now. Set the precedent early in the season in the exhibition game. We're winning.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to go in with that expectation because it is Purdue. It's I think they're ranked third right now in the AP poll, so it's a top 5 team. They did get beat last year in the first round, but in the tournament, but they do have.
But they got Zach Edey coming back.
Yeah, they have a big man who Musselman said, we're going to play this game, and at some point in the season, we're going to go back to this game plan against Edey because, because they're going to go against some athletic big men. So it's that kind of seems to be Arkansas' struggle sometimes. It's playing those athletic big men. So it's good to have a game plan already in place for that, and a game plan that has film on it, so you can go back and adjust.
Yep, I agree.
So, all right. Let's talk about the SEC kind of in basketball. Not a whole lot, so we were picked to finish third by the SEC media. Okay, it's not much to buy in there. I think we were behind Tennessee and
Kentucky or Alabama.
I think Bama was 5th.
Okay, it must be Kentucky.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, I don't put much thought into the preseason rankings because especially in basketball, the transfer portal, every team changes, and you don't know what you got till you roll the ball out there and play ball. So, but
I mean, we do get 2 chances at Kentucky this year.
yeah. I want to go back to the schedule real quick. All right, I want you to see our last 3 games. At Kentucky, LSU, at Bama. If we're fighting to get to that 20, 21 wins, it's those last 3 games are tough.
Yeah. I think it's going to boil down to. Yeah, I know, Tyler. I got a bad echo coming from me, and I don't know why. We had the same problem last week,
Yeah.
so I have to find a way to get that fixed. But Kentucky. Who's to say Kentucky will be playing good basketball? They may be playing great, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out at the end of the season.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the preseason All SEC team either, but there was one surprise on there. It's a guy that we were after, and he's already first team All SEC. Wilson, you want to take a guess at who that is?
A guy that we were at.
That we were
Oh
really
yeah,
after.
Grant Nelson.
Yes. So what do you think about him being already on the first team All SEC? Does he deserve it or what?
If he was a Razorback and his name was on there,
Yeah. I mean,
what would you say?
I know.
So no, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, and speaking of Bama, I guess Bama's kind of a rival in basketball. I guess I don't know, but you notice Bama is not coming to Bud Walton Arena, so
Yeah, hey Blake, I don't know if you noticed the comment.
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. So Tusk talked with Ty. He said he loves the retro hog cap. There's a funny story with this hat. And Jason knows I wear this hat everywhere, but the lids in Little Rock is where I got it from, probably 3 or 4 years ago. Anyways, my wife and I went shopping at Sam's, and this guy he offered me $100 to buy it off of my head. So, I told him no because I when I bought it, I didn't know it was like a small run hat. I thought you just buy it anywhere, but it's not. It looks retro, but it's recently bought, just a couple years ago. But all right. What about let's see what else with basketball. Oh, recruiting. Let's talk about recruiting real quick. Let me get that off the screen. So there's a few people out there who think the state of Arkansas basketball, high school basketball, is bad. I know Jason, you got a brother-in-law who's I think he's pretty good, playing for Lamar. I know he's getting a few looks, but some people said that the reason Pinion's not panning out is because he was a 4 or 5 star in Arkansas, and if you're a 4 or 5 star in Arkansas, that means you're a 3 star in every other state. I just don't think that's true. We've seen talent even in Southeast Arkansas come through with Darian Ford and a couple other kids. Ole Miss is in the Blytheville area recruiting those kids. Mizzou comes down to Arkansas and recruits all the time. Texas A&M is in Arkansas. LSU's in Arkansas. There's a lot of basketball talent here in the state of Arkansas. So we heard a few comments this week from people saying, if you're a 4 or 5 star in Arkansas, that means you're going to a D2 school or a small D1 school, which I just do not see. Because last year, Arkansas fans may hate them, but it is what it is. Last year, we had the number 1 player in the nation in Nick Smith Jr. playing, guess where? In the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, so that comment that was said concerning Arkansas basketball not being up to par with other states around us, the comment was made that if you're a 4 or 5 star in Arkansas, you're a 2 or 3 star in every single other state. Okay. So how many guys that were in Arkansas when they started their high school career left and played for an academy, and they remain a 4 or 5 star even after playing a full year in another state? Of course, we don't talk about that. We just make these comments that have no factual foundation. And Blake's going to go through a list of all 4 and 5 stars from the state of Arkansas that had success in basketball.
Yeah, now this list goes back quite a ways, but there's a lot of recent names. All right, it's just Corliss Williamson, Jalen Williams, Sonny Weems, Nick Smith Jr. Here's one people don't think about: Austin Reeves, who's with the Lakers.
Right.
He's from that northeast part of the state. Bobby Portis, Scottie Pippen, Moses Moody, Malik Monk, Sidney Moncrief, Joe Johnson, Isaiah Joe, Dusty Hannas, Archie Goodwin, Daniel Gafford, Derek Fisher, Jeremy Evans from Crossit, Mike Conley, and Ronnie Brewer.
I mean, and just so we're all aware, that guy who was was Bobby Portis a 5-star?
I mean, he was highly recruited.
So Bobby Portis, who was highly recruited, would have been a 2 or 3-star in another state, who has, by the way, an NBA championship ring and was a big part of that championship run for the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, not Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, baseball. Get the baseball.
Yeah. Jason, we have a huge fan of you.
We got a fan comment just for you, Jason. Okay. All right.
No, I wonder who that is.
All right, so it's from Hannah Hogue. So we want to hear from Jason. I'm a huge
not the volleyball player.
Yes, there's an actual volleyball player right now that plays volleyball for the University of Arkansas, whose name is Hannah Hogue. But all right. Well, Jason, what's your thoughts on the in-state recruiting for? I mean, we have players that that are good that don't go to the Razorbacks from Arkansas, but just kind of talk about the in-state talent.
I mean, it's been getting better to me over the years. Central Arkansas is churning out some good players. But with the way the transfer portal is now, you may go to a smaller school, but you know what? You always have the opportunity to come back to the University of Arkansas to play.
Oh, yeah. It's
you will go to a small school to develop yourself, and then the way Musselman does the transfer portal. I mean, you have a good chance to come play for us.
I mean, let's look at just this year. All right, Blake. So the state of Arkansas, your top players. I mean, I'm not a Division I coach. I'm not gonna say a Division I coach doesn't know how to evaluate talent. So before I say a 4 or 5-star is a 2 or 3-star somewhere else, I better think real clearly about who is recruiting these kids. Now, here's the issue: do 4 and 5 stars flop? All the time. But you can't take those 4 or 5 stars who flop and say they're, that state they came from is just no good. It's not talent's not good. So Andrew Boateng is going to Missouri to play basketball. Okay. Then you have Dallas Thomas, who's going to Clemson. I'm going to tell you something, Blake. Missouri and Clemson never recruited me. They don't even know my name.
Nope.
There's a reason why these guys are going to Missouri and Clemson. Okay, that's just one example. All right, let me give you another example. All right, bear with me. So there's another fellow from the state of Arkansas named Terrion Burgess, who is from Benton, where I'm teaching right now. He is, I think currently he's grown 2 inches, about 6'10", and he's the #1 player in the state of Arkansas. Now, you tell me, is Bruce Pearl an idiot? Does Bruce Pearl not know how to evaluate talent?
No.
Well, he's offered them. Is Eric Musselman an idiot?
Well, to you, he is in this month of January. But,
well, perhaps. Is Buzz Williams at Texas A&M?
Oh, no.
I mean, it was the fellow down at Texas Tech who took over for Chris Beard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you better be real careful saying that 4 and 5 star talent in the state of Arkansas is really not talented. That's an ignorant statement.
Yeah. And I know Jason. He sees talent. You know, I know he travels and watches Ben play. I know he sees the in-state talent. Even at the small, 3A, 4A level. I know. I mean, there's talent in this state.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Someone was talking about Darian Ford coming from Arkansas to Arkansas State. Okay, listen. We watched him in high school when he was playing against Crossett. Dude's good. He was at Arkansas. Now, when he played with what we got up there right now, probably not. Sometimes you bring in guys who are just better. That doesn't mean that
at the scrimmage the other day, he had a really good scrimmage.
Yeah. Like Jason talked about, he's gonna be one of them kids that could possibly come back to Arkansas. It's just not the right time for him right now.
And there is nothing wrong with that. But to sit here and say, okay, because Darian Ford left Arkansas and went to Arkansas State, he must not be any good. That is absurd.
And to say Pinion's not good. I know Jason's probably watched more Pinion than me and you have. I know in high school and just watching clips.
How many 4 and 5 stars went to Duke and flop? What about Kentucky?
Yeah.
Those 4 and 5 stars weren't coming from Arkansas for the most part.
Yep.
Anyway.
But yeah, it's to me, if you're going to say things like that in the media, especially, out on YouTube and Facebook, you need to make sure you know what you're talking about before you just say statements like that. I mean, just because one kid did not pan out doesn't mean that, the state of Arkansas basketball is overrated. I mean, you got to think about who was in front of Pinion last year too. He's got guys that played in the NBA game last night.
As long as he can develop his 3-point shot, he'll get to play.
Yep. It was frustrating to hear that, knowing that this state has talent, and not every kid from Arkansas is going to go to the University of Arkansas. Okay. We trying to think of that kid that went to Kentucky.
Malik Monk.
Yes, fans hated him, but he probably made the right decision for his career.
Decision.
Yes, a business decision. Because you got to think Arkansas basketball at the time was not. I mean, it was okay.
Right.
It's not what it is now, but it's just frustrating. It was very, very frustrating to hear that. But all right, Jason, you got any thoughts? Basketball team preview of them, what you expect for the season.
I think Musselman has made the norm for us to continuously make the NCAA tournament. But fully expect us to get 20-21 wins. Hopefully make a deep run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we were walking by Bud Walton last week, and I said, if we can just get, 20-21 is kind of the magic number, because the selection committee is going to put Arkansas in over someone else. They just are. Speaking of the selection committee, they have, I'm thinking way ahead here, but the regional sites kind of work out well for Arkansas this year. There's a regional in Memphis, Tennessee, and then they get past that regional goes to Dallas, Texas.
Oh, we're not going to be putting those.
Oh yeah, I know the NCAA will screw us over in that, but that is a possibility. Just throwing that out there. But what would be a failure of the season. Besides, let's say we make the tournament. How far do we have to go in order for it to be a successful season? We'll start with Jason.
I mean, to me, it's a failure. You don't make at least the Sweet 16. The Elite Eight is great, but if you lose in the first or second round, the season's a failure to me.
Agreed. Sweet 16 is where we need to at least get to at the very least. I think you need to get there every year.
Yeah, I think Musselman kind of has set that for this team. He's made it past 3 years, at least to the Sweet 16. So we're usually the last SEC team in the tournament, so that's always a good thing. But other than that, next week we'll preview Arkansas at Florida. We'll review the Arkansas-Purdue basketball game. We'll talk about the soccer team and every other sports going on in Arkansas. We'll supposed to have a special guest next week, Dave Shoemate. He's coming on to talk SEC football with us next week, so we are excited for him to come on. So next week's show should be a packed show. So Jason, I hope you will join us again next week. Everything works out well for you.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I know I'll be here. Ashton should be here, or unless something just happens during the scrimmage against Purdue, and he just gives up on basketball before the season starts. But hopefully not. But any closing words for the great people out there?
Jason, you got any final words?
I have no kind of words, but hey, basketball season's here, so we can put maybe football behind us.
Yeah.
Guarantee we still got 4 games, but I think the basketball team does bring hope to the state.
Yes, and I will say I think Jason said you're going to try to go to some games, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
And my final words, I believe. My wife posted something about me the other day, and it said, "How loyal are you?" And the answer was, "I'm still a Razorback fan."
Yes. So Razorback fans make great husbands. Okay. Razorback fans will make a great husband. I promise.
I never missed a home game during the John L. Smith era.
That's loyalty.
Yes, we are very loyal. But all right, so for 4-Star Sports Media, for Hogs Happy Hour, for Jason, for Ashton, I'm Blake. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.